Great. Well, we're here to talk about open innovation. And in fact, actually, we think open innovation as a term is a little bit passé. It's been practiced and it's common knowledge. Henry Chesbrough published a great book in 2003. But we think there's a new paradigm, actually, which is evolving, emerging, being invented in Europe, and we call it Open Innovation 2.0. And Open Innovation 2.0 is a set of patterns that, collectively, when they're used, we can use to drive structural changes in major societal systems like our cities, like transportation, our energy grids, or healthcare, which is the subject of this topic. And at the core of Open Innovation 2.0, it is about using collective intelligence and collaborative intelligence, collective energy to achieve synergies, to achieve network effects, aligned or focused based on a common shared vision. And really at the core of this new paradigm is the idea that we can have a shared vision where we're able to articulate and then deliver shared value between lots of different sort of stakeholders and participants in the innovation process, whether that be a government, a city council, a company, or many companies, large and small, academics. But very importantly, actually, users or citizens. One of the key patterns that we see in Open Innovation 2.0 is the user, instead of being a research object, is an active participant and is a co-creator in this new innovation ecosystem. So in summary, there is a new paradigm. It's still emerging. But what we see is a way of actually getting much more predictable, more probable, and more profitable results from open innovation and delivering not just business profit or wealth, but also societal benefits. And we believe that we can have the shared value, so wealth, welfare, and well-being through the application of Open Innovation 2.0. I think there's a significant shift that procurement is moving from something that's very much sort of, in the past was based on transactional, well-defined sort of, products and services, to sort of a new paradigm where it's all about actually co-creation. And of course, there are some policy and there's some competition law, issues and IP issues associated with that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to trust. Carl Eric-Sveibe, he said that trust is the bandwidth of communication. Where you're able to actually establish trust between some partners working together and you can actually articulate a shared vision, then it's really possible to actually create solutions that sort of work for the customer and are profitable for the supplier. So there certainly are sort of challenges, particularly in the public sector and the tendering process, and that sometimes make it difficult to co-create. And we actually need some innovation in sort of procurement law and EU law around public procurement. But fundamentally, it comes down to trust and actually having really good social capital between the participants in the innovation process. And if that's there, that's probably the fundamental raw material for actually a successful procurement in the new way of doing things. What we're trying to do is sort of codify and sort of digitize and make it easy for companies or universities to work with us. So almost industrialize the research process, because the research process, you could argue, still is a bit of a cottage industry. So we've been working hard to use the principles of Open Innovation 2.0 to make it easy for companies to partner with us. Now, we do a lot of prototyping. We do a lot of work in living labs, so trials out in the wild rather than in the lab. And we use a research paradigm, what we call design science research. And design science research is all about actually solving problems. And the key output that we're trying to get from design science research is not only a solution, but also a design pattern. And a design pattern is a generally reusable solution to a commonly recurring problem. So it's great if you have a solution, but it's way more powerful if you also have a design pattern so that many people can adopt that innovation and adopt it easily. Well, I think there's fantastic opportunities in the area of precision or personalized medicine, and that's going to be a major opportunity. But I actually think the biggest bang for the buck and the biggest opportunity is working in preventative healthcare, educating people, the quantified self, so that we're instrumented, not sort of overly so, but we're able to see our early warning signs. The impact of nutrition, some of the studies, empirical studies that need to be done around the impact of animal protein, for example, on health are hugely important. So I think there's a huge amount of possibilities. We're very excited about the work we're doing in the UK around air quality measuring and actually then taking mitigating actions, which also are about improving well-being to fix that problem. By using sort of urban IoT services, what we're doing in various parts of London is deploying an urban IoT platform. But this isn't just a platform, say a vertical solution like air quality monitoring, but it can be used for all sorts of things, like, for example, noise monitoring, or in Hyde Park we're using it for water quality monitoring. So it can be used for a myriad of solutions. So the idea is that we provide a common IoT platform, and it can be used for multiple services. And we see this cycle of acquiring data, analytics, and then action. So we call it the 3 A's: acquire, analyze, act. And putting all sorts of closed loop systems in place to improve our environment, to improve the way the city runs, to improve quality of life for citizens, to improve health. So that's probably what I'm most excited about. Well, I think complexity is a very big issue in healthcare, and there's so many participants, so it's very difficult to actually drive change, and there's such inertia. So I think a starting point is if we could just agree on a shared vision, what is the future of health? And if we could shift the center of gravity from getting ill people better to it's actually just keeping well people well, this would make a massive difference. So I think that's a starting point. I think actually having dedicated innovation teams, because if you look at practitioners and even administrators, everybody's consumed with actually what's right in front of us, and rightly so. But what we see from innovation practice and literature, that when you want to drive disruptive innovations, it's very useful to actually have a team who don't have day-to-day responsibilities. Their responsibility are actually for innovation or to cause disruption. So I think the combination of actually on the one hand having a shared vision, on the other hand actually having focused innovation teams, they don't have to be large, but that's actually your recipe for success. But I think the common vision, if we could just achieve, figure out where we all want to go in this space, that would be a remarkable breakthrough.